Okay, and we're here for another installment of the Terrorisk podcast. That sounded like terrorist. It's not terrorist with a T. It's terrorisk.
Yeah, it's
as
terrorisk.
in like you're under the risk of terror. All right.
Yes.
So
striking fear into these hoes.
yeah, and before you guys were tuning in on us, we were just talking about a very New York thing. Like this is a very nuanced New Yorker experience. If you guys have ever heard Funk Master Flex on New York FM radio,
I consider it a blessing.
yeah, if you've never heard him. Yeah, here's the thing about Funk Master Flex. All right, so I have a question about Funk Master Flex to like the 10 people listening to this. But like, yeah, so in New York, we have that guy, Funk Master Flex. You know, he's this DJ that goes on like long monologues and he's always like pushing that explosion button. Like, yo,
Dropping
what's up,
the
New
bomb.
York?
Oh,
What's
that shit
up?
is so hot. I gotta rewind that. It's like, dude, we've heard this for like the last 2 decades. Like, please.
Now, all right, so my question is to the listeners, what I want to know is, does like Chicago have their own Funk Master Flex? Does like Miami have their own like maybe he's called like Dash Master Dex or something, you know, like do they have their own guy? That's what I need to know. I want to know.
You know what? It's funny you mentioned that because on the Latin radio, they have that guy.
In New York?
Yeah.
Who's the New York? Who's the New York
fuck.
Latino like primetime DJ?
DJ Alex Sensation. He is so
I heard of
fucking
Alex Sensation.
annoying, bro. Like,
I heard
please just
of
play the fucking track. And then he talks because he's Colombian, so of course he speaks Spanish like he's on a timeline. Aquí, and I'm like, yo, please shut up and just play the track. Like we've heard you enough for like the last 2 decades. Because he was on this also famous.
He's the guy.
Yeah, he's the guy. He started off in La Mega, which is like Hot 97, but for Latin music, that's where Funk Master Flex got his start.
Yeah.
So he's basically like in the same tier of Funk Master Flex. He's been everywhere. You can't go anywhere without hearing him and DJing.
I bet him and Funk Master Flex hang out sometimes.
I wouldn't put it past him. Like, hey, you good? You're annoying. So
You're you're annoying. So are you.
Yeah. We love yapping on the fucking radio. You know, it's their thing. It's their signature now. I guess that's why they keep doing it.
Well, what I will give to both of them is they both clearly love music. They both clearly love
for
fucking-
sure. Like they wouldn't be doing this for so long if they didn't love music.
Yeah, they could clearly. Honestly, they could probably be doing many other things.
Yeah, but yeah, and I'll give you this: Alex Sensation DJ'd from his house because he knows how the Latin community is, and he did this during COVID when people couldn't go out and like party for New Year's Eve. He hosted his own New Year's Eve stream at home with his own DJ equipment. So that's how I know he was like he actually loves this shit.
Well, I think also like just straight up like Latino people, the people of the Southern Hemisphere Spanish sensation. I think those people are just the best at partying when things are really bad.
Oh, yeah.
Like whether it's a pandemic, whether it's a revolution, whether it's civil war, like they'll still be partying. You
Absolutely.
know? So, well, people are killing each other in the streets, but someone's got to turn the radio on in the streets, you know, so we could chill and get the vibe going. Yeah, I don't think anyone's better at that than those people.
You could almost say like they're like the original doomers. Like even through thick and thin, they'll still make it happen.
Also, what's interesting about the Latino people is they're new people. They're not like, it's not like they're indigenous to South America, and they're not from Spain either. It's like almost like people from Spain came to South America, saw these natives, and they were like, we're gonna make our own people. And they literally made Latinos.
Yeah.
Like that's what they did. They were like they the white people go to Africa and they just enslave them and shit. No, the Spaniards go to South America and they're like, yeah, let's interbreed.
There's gold here. And bitches, bet.
They got huge titties, and we haven't
yeah.
seen women in like 2 years.
Bro, I saw some crazy tweets like, oh, how can you tell I'm from the West Indies? And I'm like, I understand what those Spaniards were thinking when they saw these bitches, bro. Like, there's something activated in my brain like, oh shit, man, maybe they were right. Not condoning whatever they did, but you know, I feel I understand them.
And they taught them Spanish.
Yeah.
They taught them Spanish. They taught them how to make Spanish foods. And they interbreeded with them. They had babies with them.
They took it as their own, you know, whatever the Spanish culture is. Don't ask me because I've never been to Spain, but you know, every Spanish speaking country pretty much has like their own spin on everything. On top of like whatever their regional resources are.
I mean, the sad part is it was definitely some Spanish guy who interbreeded with mad native indigenous women of South America. But I would like to think there was a case where there was like some like Mayan native dude who got with like a white Spanish lady. That would be nice, you know?
You know what? Hey, that was actually happening at some point because like even in my family, there was like actual Spaniards, like my great grandparents were living in the Dominican Republic. It's like, why were they here? Like, what were you guys doing back then?
I mean, I don't mean to sound like offensive or anything, but like European Spanish sounds way stupider than like South American.
Oh yeah,
Spanish.
no, it absolutely is.
The way they talk like that, they talk like that.
Corazón, because they pronounce the Z they pronounce the Z sound with a TH, which is the disgusting version of saying it. Ibiza. Yeah, like who the fuck? Oh, I'm good, thank you. It's just too disgusting sounding. And there's like this rumor, it's like, oh, King Henry back in the day when, you know, the Spanish was like a monarchy or whatever, that he had a lisp. So in order to have people not make fun of him, he just said, oh, this is a part of the language now, which I'm pretty sure is just some baseless rumor, but people still say it till today, so I think it's fucking hilarious.
That's really funny. It's like, no, since I do this, you all have to do it.
Yeah, he's just basically screwed over an entire country because he didn't want to get made fun of for having a lisp.
I mean, there was a similar story like that in the British monarchy. I think it was like King George or something. He had like a speech impediment. I forgot who it was. There was a literal movie about it where he was like, what?
Yeah, I was like, I didn't know there was a fucking movie about that. Now I'm kind of curious.
Oh, yeah. So during World War II, the king had to make a speech to the British public, and he had a speech impediment, so he had to like go through this whole dramatic like thing, you know, with a I think a speech therapist, so that he could deliver. And the speech was recorded in history as one of the most powerful speeches ever delivered. So it's like clearly, you know, it did good and it succeeded. But the movie was pretty good because, you know, usually in a movie like that, like there's a specter of an enemy, you know, the nemesis. In this case, the enemy, the bad guy of this movie was his speech impediment, which is, you know, yeah, like, I mean, you would think, oh no, the bad guys are the Nazis that are threatening to invade your fucking no, it's actually his speech impediment that's like getting in the way of everything.
One boss battle at a time, and this time is fucking speech. Exactly.
I mean, you can't knock out Hitler if you can't knock out your speech impediment.
And you gotta talk that shit first, buddy.
Yo, I mean, speaking of the Nazis, there's a lot of talk. Well, it's actually a long held belief, not even a belief. I guess you could call it speculation or a speculative theory that the Nazis were in contact with aliens.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that. It's like, oh, how'd they get all this technology so quickly? And it's like, I don't know. What else were they going to do?
Or it's like, how did they get Adderall? The aliens.
Oh shit! Damn, neighbors fucking up. But yeah, like they were they on meth? Yeah, they were on meth, methamphetamines or something.
And the idea is that aliens gave them the meth.
Oh, aliens gave us the meth. That's crazy. We're taking space drugs, buddy. We gotta win this war. Hurry the fuck up.
I mean, it's a pretty cool drug, all things considered. Like, as long as you don't abuse it, if you really use it right, yeah, it could really help you out with a lot of things. It's just not good if you keep doing it. I mean, it breaks you down.
All in moderation, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Except for crack. Nobody should be doing crack.
I mean, crack is the problem with crack is
to me it's not even a real drug. It's kind of like a fucking neurological weapon at that point.
Well, crack was never designed to be enjoyed. Crack was literally designed to save money. The problem was like, let's say you did a lot of coke, and coke is a great time. Coke is fun. Bitches love coke. You love coke. Everyone loves coke. Who doesn't love coke? Rock stars do it. Movie stars do it. Everyone does it. The problem is if you're not one of those people and you're not famous and you're not rich and you don't make a lot of money, your coke habit gets really, 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 really expensive. Especially like the more addicted you get, the more you end up having to spend on coke, not even to just have a good time, but to just stay alive. You know, otherwise you go through like withdrawals and you can't function.
Yeesh.
So this is where crack comes in the picture. Like, you run out of money, you're heavily addicted to cocaine, and someone comes along and says, you know, your little bit of cocaine can stretch out a lot longer if you like mix it with baking soda, cook it together, and then you smoke it as a rock. You know, that's why crack. That's the real reason why crack is a problem. And
I see.
And you know, that makes a lot of sense to me because it's like, A, it makes sense why so many people do crack, and B, it makes sense why nobody talks about it. Really? I mean, you might think like, oh, crack, like nobody smokes crack anymore. Wrong. Mad people smoke crack in the modern age. Mad millennials smoke crack. Mad Zoomers smoke crack. Mad Gen Xers smoke. A lot of people smoke crack, and the reason why they smoke crack, they don't do it because it's cool. They don't do it because movies glorify crack. No, they do it because they did way too much coke. They got way too hooked. They couldn't afford their habit, so they started stretching their coke out more, which is through crack.
I see.
We knew
That makes
you and I.
sense.
Both of us have literally hung out with crackheads. You know,
Yeah,
like, and
we have.
and like and I'm telling you, this is how it happened. This is how it usually happens. Like crack isn't a glamorous drug, really.
It's not chic or it's not cool or glamorous. It's like, okay, well,
The only time a famous person would smoke crack is if they're like really in a bind. It's like I have no idea where I'm at. My agent's not around. If there's crack here, I don't have coke. Fine, let's smoke some crack.
yeah.
But in my
that's
opinion,
rough.
in my opinion, crack is so popular because coke is so popular.
Yeah, you can't have crack without coke. You can't have that need if you
Yeah.
haven't, smoked any cocaine or snorted rather.
What we could do is we could try to make cocaine a lot cheaper,
Yeah,
and more accessible, so
how
people
do we do that?
make it legal.
Yeah, that's one way.
I mean, look, let me just like tell you about the insanity of like laws surrounding cocaine. See, the thing is, cocaine doesn't just come into this earth as a white powder, right?
Yeah,
it has
you
to
have
come as
to-
as a plant, yeah. And then you put that plant through its processes and all that shit. So it makes you wonder. It's like, what's stopping the average American with the right climate and some good soil to grow their own coca plant to refine into their own cocaine? Like, what's stopping them from doing that? Which tells you, oh, apparently, like, cocaine as the drug isn't just illegal to have, but it's also illegal to grow the plant. And that's where it gets like dicey. You're like, what?
Okay.
It's illegal for me to grow a fucking plant? And it's like, all right, is it illegal for me to own the seeds? Is it illegal for me to like bury some seeds in the ground? And if it happens to grow, it grows? Like what are you talking about here? Like, how is agriculture illegal? How are you going to outlaw plants? How are you going to enforce that? You're going
Form of control.
Exactly. So that's where it gets dicey. It's like, if you get caught with the substance, you're like, oh, well, I got to take you to jail. But if you get caught with a coke plant, like most cops, 90% of the cops out there probably wouldn't even know what they're looking at if they see the plant. So it's like, it's dicey. It's weird. So at that point, you might as well just fucking legalize it.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure all that drug trade that happens in Mexico and the South America would at least drop significantly.
So another thing is like, let's say, who would really make things like bad if cocaine was suddenly legalized? Like, who would be the first entity in our reality, in our collective like experience reality, that would come out and take advantage of coke legalization in the worst way? Well, I'll tell you right now, it's bodegas. Bodegas would be the first places where you walk in, you're like, yo, let me get a bag of blow. It's like, yeah, what do you want? You want 20, you want 50, you want 60. They'll sell it to you. They'll be the first motherfuckers. Because you know how I know this? Because when weed was legalized,
they started doing it.
The first motherfuckers, the bodegas.
Absolutely. As soon as it was street legal, it was like, all right, here you go, buddy.
So
even though it's not legal to sell, they were still doing it.
So as long as it won't go back to them, which it won't, no cop's gonna stop you for smoking weed anymore. So look, I'm just saying, if as soon as cocaine gets legalized, the first place you're gonna see it sold,
Bodegas. Absolutely.
That's where high school kids are gonna walk in. It's like, let me get a bag of blow. It's like just as back in my day when I was in high school, it was a struggle to get a pack of cigarettes as a kid. It's like or to get them to sell me Lucy's. It guts me to know that like the high school kids of these days are literally having that same conversation but over weed.
Yeah.
It's like for me to imagine myself going into a deli where I know they sell marijuana is like mind blowing.
Yeah, it is mind blowing, especially you see these fucking dumbass kids smoking at like 15, 16, or even younger.
Well, that's when I was smoking. I started smoking weed at 14.
Yeah.
Well, don't do what I do, kids. Also, I'm a high school dropout, so stay in school or you'll end up like me. Like I always say that in the worst way. I'm like, stay in school, kids, or you'll end up just like me. And they're like, cool.
What a great role model.
Yeah, I would say that to Asian kids. It's like stay in school or you end up just like me. And I get into like a Ferrari and I just rip off.
It's the ultimate fuck you to like Asian parents. Like, yeah, I did it. So what?
No. Asian parents have always been dealing with that, like with gangsters and shit in their native countries. They're the same way. It's just the same shit.
It's like your
It's
mom
like-
fucking yelling at you. Oh, don't stay outside. Don't do this. Don't do that. Don't
Or
be
it's
a
like-
delinquent.
Or it's like Biggie Smalls being like in the classroom, like, "Oh, you telling me I'm gonna grow up to be a garbage man, but here's the thing: I did some math, and garbage men make more money than you."
Yeah, that is statistically true. Plus, I don't think teachers really be knowing about shit. I think they just get a certificate that says, "Hey, I am eligible to teach and be around kids." And all right, good, go ahead. And then that's it. Hey, what's Mochi doing? He's scavenging somewhere.
I thought the front door was open. But I was gonna say,
No.
let's be honest: educating kids isn't that hard.
No, it's not.
It's really easy. What do you got to teach them? You got to teach them the basics, really.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like I really think we should have robots teach kids, and then no, like robots teach kids like the boring shit, like math, science, and all that shit, and then you have human beings teach the life shit, like how to get a girlfriend or a boyfriend, or how to go on a date, or how to like cook a meal for someone, or stuff like that.
Yeah.
I really do think like robots should teach like robot shit, and humans should teach humans shit. The problems happen when you have humans teach robot shit all day.
They don't know how to get that point across, and people are like, huh? What are you talking about? Like,
Yeah.
well, they're not even teaching the life shit anyway. So it's like to lose no matter what.
I mean, that's what humans should be teaching. Like our human teachers, that's what we should be teaching as humans. Like, is the human things, like not to be a human calculator, but how to be a human being that could get pussy and make some money and good relationships, and like find.
Stop being weird in public,
Yeah.
especially that. I don't know what it is. Like, yo, these new kids are fucked. I'm telling you, these new kids are fucked. They don't know how to talk to people. Like, I never met like a young person just like.
Who's sociable.
Yeah, it's like they're screwed because they all have ADHD from default, from the get-go, because they're all fucking iPad kids. Like their parenting style is like, all right, you're crying, here's Elmo for fucking 6 hours straight.
Yeah.
Till you fucking get tired and fall asleep.
You know what? I mean, look, all this means, and I don't mean it in an egotistical or a doomer way. It's very simple because it's very natural. It's literally nature. At this point, we're supposed to teach them how to be sociable.
Yeah,
Our generation is supposed to teach the Zoomers. So you don't have to like hold classes or anything for them or like teach them directly. All you got to do is just be yourself, but louder. Is to show what it looks like when a person is being authentic. That's all we have to teach Zoomers. Not to teach them how to speak a certain way, not to teach them certain words, not to buy certain. All we got to do is show them what it means to be authentic.
right.
As long as we show Zoomers authenticity, they'll be fine. Everything else doesn't matter. Like, like the slang, the culture, shit, fuck that.
Because that changes over time.
Yeah,
anyway.
exactly. The only thing that matters the only thing that we should be passing on to other generations is how to be authentic. So as long as we're teaching Zoomers how, like what it means to hold an authentic voice and the gravity of it and like the responsibility of it and the cons of it, like there are repercussions to being sincere and authentic. It's going to bite you in certain ways, and is it worth it? Why is it worth it? Those are the things you're supposed to make them like consider. It's like, well, what's the point of being real if it's just everyone's just going to like fuck me over for it? It's like, you tell me. It's like, think about it. So it's like, shit like that. That's what we're supposed to be passing on to them. So that's why I'm not worried, because personally I try to be authentic, not even for the sake of Zoomers or anything, just because I don't feel right being any other way. I try to speak in the most authentic tone possible.
I feel like they would benefit a lot from that, because from my experience, it's like, okay, they're either trying to do two things. Either they're like dead afraid of just being wrong, like they refuse to acknowledge that they're wrong, or they're just speaking in a manner where they're like trying to pretend that they're somebody that they aren't, and that's none of those things are authentic.
It's all ego.
Yeah.
Like being afraid of being wrong, that's ego. Or like, trying to people please, ego. Like that's ego shit.
Yeah,
but if you're authentic,
like that.
if you're authentic, you're not afraid of getting hurt, and you're not necessarily afraid of hurting people's feelings, because you're not out to hurt anybody. You have faith in your intentions. You know when you open your mouth to speak, when you raise your hand to act, whatever you do, you're not really trying to hurt anyone. You're not trying to make the world a worse place. Yes, it might come off as, your actions and words may come off as aggressive sometimes, but deep down, it's hard to miss whether or not like you fucking want bad things for the world. Like you could just tell when someone raises their voice, and you know, like whether they yell or whether they act out or physically harm someone or something, you know, you could tell right away whether they're doing it from a place of good or from a place of bad. I'm not talking about whether they're correct or not either. Like they could be absolutely in the wrong, but their heart could be in the right place, you know?
Yeah, I don't even know where to approach that.
No, I'm just saying, all I'm saying is like it's I guess it all circles back to authenticity, you know, like that's the important thing we should be showing Zoomers as millennials. We should be showing them what it means to be authentic.
You know what? There's something that always bothered me. Is like I don't like the description of millennials, and I'm talking about the age range of a millennial. And if you look it up, it's like 1986 to like 1999 or some shit like that. I know there's like a 5-year gap.
Yeah.
I mean, no, I'm sorry, not a 5-year, 15-year gap.
Yeah.
And I think that's way too much of a generational gap for you to be lumping people together. And it's like, oh, okay, cool, you were born here. Okay, me and you is different because like I might have been born, you know, late 80s, you might have been born early 90s, but we both grew up together during the 90s, right? Our experiences are similar. My sister has at least 10 years over me, right? And my experience is not the same. I can't say that she's also a millennial because she is not a part of my age range. She grew up in the 80s. I cannot say the same, even though I might have been at the very tail end of the 80s. I can't say I grew up in the 80s. I didn't experience it. What I experienced was the 90s. That's when I was cognizant. She was already cognizant during the 80s.
Yeah.
So I can't say that she's a millennial and I'm a millennial because we don't share that experience. And I don't know who the fuck is making up these age ranges. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. Like, I can't in
generational labels. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that the gap is too big. The experience is too different for me to say, oh yeah, she's a millennial, I'm a millennial. It doesn't make sense to me.
I think the thing about millennials, I mean, the designation. I mean, we're talking about Generation Y. That's what a millennial is. It's after Generation X. It's Generation Y before Generation Z. You're right, you know, like, but what I think you're speaking it from a more of a cultural lens because that's the real alienating part. Isn't anything else but the culture. Like 80s culture. I mean, I don't know what the 80s were like, you know, because I was born in like early 90s, you know. So it's like all I've experienced was 90s, but I would imagine 80s culture was marked by like completely different like milestones and benchmarks, you know. Yeah. Whereas in the 90s we had like. Honestly, we had badass shit. We had Bruce Springsteen. We had SWAT Cats. We had Tom and Jerry. Well, actually, Tom and Jerry was like older than that. Yeah. I'm saying like we had like
Pokemon was coming out in full
Pokemon.
Force.
Yeah. We had Saturday morning cartoons when they were at their peak.
Yeah, it's like it was like the fast track to like all the technology that we have today. That shit started moving quickly in the 90s.
You know what we didn't have in the 90s though. I don't think we had Toonami in the 90s.
I know there was Toonami, but it was really early.
No, I thought Toonami was like 2001 or something. 2000.
I can't say for certain. I just know there was some really early shit before Toonami became a thing. There was like a block of just like, okay, let's try out this experiment. Let's put these foreign animations, but it was a small block. It was like, I don't know, maybe like an hour or two, and that was it. And it was once a week. And then they were like saying, oh, this has a big following. Then they turned it into Toonami, and then and I'll say this again. The reason why we watch anime the way that we do now is due to two entities. Dragon Ball Z and Sailor Moon. And I have to reiterate, there would be no Toonami without those two. Specifically those two. That is what drew in the biggest audience. Sailor Moon and Dragon Ball Z. Without those, we would not be where we were at. We probably wouldn't even know what the fuck anime is at this point if it weren't for those two.
You know Viz Media?
Yeah, Viz Media, yeah. Yeah, they're fucking publishers along with like Funimation and all those guys.
Also,
I will say this: Funimation did put in the work because they started to do their own dubs in English. I mean, God bless them. They knocked that out of the park. Like fucking Sean Shelmel as Goku and I forget the other guy's name is Vegeta and Piccolo. Like, yo, they're like goats, bro.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
we wouldn't be here.
And then we
them.
still got more legends like what was his name? Spike Spencer.
Oh yeah, Spike Spencer.
Everyone knows the name Spike. You read the credits, you're like Spike Spencer, and he's like in everything.
Yeah, Matthew Mercer, all them fucking dudes. Johnny Young Bosch became a fucking voice actor too.
Who did the voice of Spike from Cowboy Bebop?
Fuck, I can't remember.
But you know his voice.
You know
like,
his voice. You're gonna carry that weight.
Yeah. It's so funny. But apparently they're all Canadians. Like all the goats, all the dub actors, the original goats, they were all Canadians.
Yeah, I wonder why. Because like
I think it's because
they had the studios back then.
Yeah, I think it's because they all went through Canada first.
Yeah, and then they relocated. Like I don't know if it was in Houston, Texas, or somewhere in the South, but I remember that being a thing. Or Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah, Canada had like Sailor Moon and Dragon Ball as fast as we did because they were
doing it as it was coming.
Yeah,
like as we were receiving like the raw, video footage or whatever, they were actually dubbing it.
Yeah, and then they sent it to us, and then they broadcast it to Cartoon Network and shit. It's fascinating. Like cable network broadcasting was so interesting. Like it was. Because now we have the internet, so it's like all completely obsolete. Like all that shit is completely antiquated. No one, like there's no broadcasting on cable anymore. Like absolutely none. But it's interesting when it was being broadcasted on cable. It was so fascinating.
It was the epicenter of information. If you didn't have a television, you didn't know what the fuck was going on in the world.
Because here's how.
Besides like newspapers.
Yeah. Like literally. Cable television or cable networking was like a flash in the pan because like before cable we had antennas.
Yeah.
So there wasn't
whatever our local stations were, kind of like how radio stations work now. Whatever locally you'd get.
Yeah, so you had antennas to be able to pick up, and then if you were really fancy, you had a satellite dish. It was oh shit, you got the satellite dish.
Oh man, I remember my cousin had like a hack satellite receiver with like all the channels. That shit was so fucking great.
And then you get cable, and then you get the hot box for the cable.
Oh yeah. I love those early days of just hacking your shit.
Yep. And then, so all right, there was cable, but that was literally that only lasted for like 11, 15 years.
Yeah, and you know what's even crazier? Like the concept of a 24-hour news channel was wild and was not like. I don't know if it eventually it did become a thing.
Yeah.
But like at the time they were trying to market it.
New York One.
Yeah, like who the fuck is gonna want to watch 24 hours news? Like what are you gonna show for 24 hours? And it's like
they have content.
Yeah, like that was like a pressing issue. Like we want to make this channel be all news. How we're gonna do it? Who's gonna buy into it? Who's gonna fund this? And now look at us. We have news at the fingertips. As soon as it comes out, it's on our fucking phones.
Well, New York One was really good though.
Yeah, like, I will. Yeah. Like, I mean, because you'd get the weather on the ones.
Yeah, it was so cool. Like walking into any diner or deli with a television, and you see New York One. You're like, yeah, we got our own channel. It's fucking New York One. It's number one on cable news or cable television. Is just New York One. It's fucking sick. Yeah, and but then like we still kept that framework, but then like the literal cable television was a flash in the pan because very quickly we started getting like fucking modems installed into our homes.
Yep, I remember the first day.
Yeah,
I had a Verizon modem installed at my fucking house.
Yeah,
and the guy said, "Oh, don't run up the fucking phone bill now." I was like, "Wait, what are you talking about?" And then that's when I realized you had to add those filters to your phone line. To not like I don't know exactly what it did, but I think there would be like noise if you had like the internet on at the same time as a phone call or some bullshit like that.
It would ring up the data like data being spent or something.
Oh man,
processed, I guess. Like, but now it's like, I mean, we're still on that. We're still on that like modem design, right? Like
yeah, there's still modems.
Well, it's really routers, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I really like our networking system now. Like, I love it. Personally.
Oh yeah,
like,
fucking. I don't know, the fiber optics. I get fucking so much speed. Now.
Wi-Fi. Like, I like because I like the structure, the design structure. It's like a hierarchy, right? Like this computer is tied through a LAN connection to my router, which is connected to the modem. The modem, which
and then that's connected to the buildings, wiring, whatever.
Which is all connected to a fiber optic network
to the street, and then the street connects to wherever the fucking company that owns the wiring or whatever.
And a lot of
to
these
their
nodes are
centers.
like in the seats, even, you know, like
Yeah.
underwater and shit, like crazy shit.
Yeah, man, it's really crazy how like the internet got us to this point.
Yeah.
Where like you could just blink and you're talking to somebody from like, I don't know, Saudi Arabia.
I mean, because the internet, like, let's call it what it is. It's literally a decentralized system. It's a decentralized system where if one major server goes down, no one gives a fuck.
Yeah,
You know,
it'll be
like
1,000 up still.
exactly. Like, you know what? I bet if like all of Amazon's servers got blown up, like it would take like mirrors would be put up just like that.
Yeah.
Like people, like so many other servers would just be like, because here's a law of nature. Nature abhors a vacuum. Nature cannot stand to allow a vacuum to exist. So what does it do? It fills that vacuum. It fills a void. You know, it cannot stand to see a void. So I think the same rule applies to the internet. Like if you create a void in an internet network, interconnected network, if you create a void, it's going to be filled, just like in nature. You know.
Never thought about it that way.
Yeah.
That's a special way of thinking about it. Damn, like I'm just thinking about. See, my mind immediately went to like all the dark shit. Like, okay, what kind of voids are there?
Well, put it this way. Remember when Pirate Bay got shut down? How fast did we get like Pirate Bay proxies?
Oh, we got that shit like within a day.
Exactly.
Or probably less. Probably got it in hours actually.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, or it's like when fucking what do you call those websites, like Craigslist kind of websites?
Oh yeah, like those like I don't know marketplace websites.
Yeah, marketplace websites. Once you see like sex trafficking going on, they get shut down, but there's always like a replacement for it, you know, real quick.
Yo, it's like, oh, you guys can't sell pussy on Craigslist anymore.
Yeah.
You gotta find David's list now.
I mean, it's shut down for like literally us for the label of sex trafficking. But the truth is, it's just hoes that get on the personals and just
Well, you
offer
gotta
their pussy
stop
for money.
them.
You know, it's like they just offer their pussy for money on the internet, and it's like you're right. You can't stop them because it's so convenient. It's so efficient. Like if you're a woman and you're low on cash, and you know men out there would pay you money to like stick their dick in you for like a few minutes, you're gonna do it. You're gonna be like, someone's gonna do it. Someone
it's only 5 minutes, my nigga. Like,
someone out there is gonna do it. Like, you ever see the meme of the young guy in the old lady's bed, and she's like, "See, that wasn't so bad. Now you can get that PlayStation you always wanted." You know, like,
oh man.
see, that wasn't so terrible. Now you can get that new Beyblade. You know.
Yeah, that's crazy. Trying to smash some granny for a fucking Beyblade.
Honestly, if I get pussy and I get a free Beyblade out of it, like, you know, like,
hey, I'm up. I'll take that.
I'll take that. Like, no, you know what? I would even stop and look at my boys. Like, you guys sure you don't want it? Like, literally, like you get the smash, you get the Beyblade. Like, you know, and they say, "Nah, man, you're good. That's all you." I'll be all right. See you in like 2 minutes.
Oh man.
Yeah, gotta run that shit. Run that shit. I would say that out loud while doing. I'd be like, "Run that shit."
Oh my god. It's crazy. This is where we've gotten to on the internet. We're just casually talking about David's list, selling pussy, selling grandma pussy
For Beyblades.
For Beyblades.
You know what? There's what wouldn't I do for Beyblades? I wouldn't kill anyone for a Beyblade. I wouldn't hurt a child for a Beyblade. I wouldn't even hurt an animal for a Beyblade.
Yeah, I don't like that.
I would fuck an old woman for a Beyblade. I would.
I mean, it's a win-win. You know, she gets something, I get something. You know.
Yeah. See, that wasn't so bad. Now you could get that. Now you could get that.
That nice shiny PlayStation.
Squishmallow.
Oh God.
now you get that Funko Pop that you.
I mean, see, chicks have been doing that shit for a while, except they just.
Oh yeah,
you're
right.
They're just getting like like I don't know, trips to Dubai or whatever.
Yo, I feel bad for the. I don't think like any smart girl falls for that shit anymore. Like.
I mean, you kind of have to be desperate.
Oh shit, you're right. We're talking about like thousands of dollars per trip. It's like you're giving me like $10,000 to party with you in Dubai. Okay.
Well,
and then
yeah,
suddenly
that's
you're getting
different,
like suddenly you got these dudes in those like Muslim robes. They lift their shit up and then they just like shit all over your chest.
Bro,
You're like, what the fuck?
I don't understand what's their fascination. It must be like a power trip thing.
It is a power trip.
Like, oh, you just shitted on this bitch that you paid several $1,000s and then you're gonna send her back home with a shitty chest. back to Florida.
Ruined. You know what though? It is sad though, because like I did hear like interviews of like post of those trips, and they're like, I was still able to. I just fuck.
Wait,
I shouldn't laugh. They were like, I was still able to taste fecal matter. I was like, I shouldn't laugh. It's horrible. I'm sorry.
You signed up for it, like,
girl. If you're listening to this, I'm sorry for laughing, but it's just those. Even after it was over, for a few days, I could still taste the fecal matter in my mouth. And I was like, it was supposed to sound horrible, and I was horrified.
I would laugh right on the spot. I'm the worst person to ever tell anything like that. Like, no, I would just laugh.
No, because that was first of all, like, it's funny because on some level it was voluntary.
Yeah.
Also, second of all, it's like disgusting. It's like it's cartoon levels of
this is like what Wile E. Coyote would do to the Roadrunner. Just
it's like Ren and Stimpy in real life.
Yeah, actually, that's better. Oh my god.
It's like they're doing real life Ren and Stimpy shit. I bet that's where it comes from. That's where it comes. They were watching
all those dudes in Dubai was just watching Ren and Stimpy.
Newgrounds, Ren and Stimpy. Hold up.
They're cooking actually. Let's try this out.
And then we have money, like
yeah, why not? To me, it's just like, okay, you saw him pull his pants down, like you didn't move.
I mean, that's the trouble with being like a millionaire's kid or a billionaire's kid, like a rich oil sheik's kid. Mm-hmm. You get your laptop, and like for a normal kid, like an average kid like us, we get on the internet, we look at like ridiculous porn and whacked out shit. For us, it's just fantasy. We're like, oh yeah, that's crazy. Imagine doing that.
Yeah.
For them, it's like
it's reality.
Yeah, they could do these things, because they have like a lot of money, like.
And people are willing to put up with it, so bottoms up, I guess.
I guess so, exactly. I mean, don't hate the player, hate the game. Like that's really what it boils down to.
Yeah, man. You signed up for it, you gotta hold that shit, quite literally.
At least you get a bag out of it, like. Yeah.
There's people who get shitted on for free.
I think there was that.
Wouldn't be me.
I think Drake had a cool line in one of his songs. He was like, he pays dudes in Louis Vuitton bags to kill people, and like he doesn't.
Oh yeah. He did it for a bag or some shit like that.
That's cool. I that's a novel idea, like paying paying killers in Louis Vuitton bags. But that's also really ratchet. It's like
it is ratchet.
It's like yo, I'll give you 2 Louis Vuitton bags to murk this dude. But that's a lot of fucking money. Like you can flip that so easily.
You can flip that very easily. There's always these like African dudes trying to sell like counterfeit Louis Vuitton bags and Gucci bags out in the street, and I was like, damn, I wonder how much bread they're raking in selling this fake shit that they keep doing it. Like they haven't stopped.
Also,
I mean, in reality, the grind never stops. But it's like I just wonder, like, why?
Also, I know people get killed in the hood, but I don't want to look at like every dude who kills people in the hood to do like as some savage that does it for no reason. Like, I think like especially in the modern age, if dudes are still getting killed in the hood, there's probably a reason. I'm not saying it's always a good reason, but there's usually a reason.
There is a reason. It might not be good. Might not be bad, but there's a reason.
Which means they're generally involved in something. Yeah. That may not necessarily have to do with their death, but they're involved in some shit in the game that's going to get them killed by some dude in the hood.
Unless it's like, like an accident where like somebody shoots up like a subway train and somebody gets hit that wasn't an intended target.
But as for like where it's like, yo, it's like they'll stab you for like the change in your pocket, and then they'll just to get a meal to eat.
Doing that.
Yeah, because like nowadays even poor people have like cell phones. Poor people have like smartphones, which means poor people could literally look up YouTube and look up neat ways to like shoplift. Like, I mean, literally, like it's cool. It's actually cool that like whether
it's cool to shoplift.
No. I mean, no matter what you do, whether you're fixing a flat or shoplifting from a store, the fact that you could pull up YouTube, like, what's the best way to shoplift from Walmart 2024? And you'll find a video on YouTube. Oh, yeah. It's like, here's the best way to shoplift a meal from Walmart. Like.
I'm sure that video would have done numbers back in like 2007.
I still do it. Shit like that, still doing numbers.
Yeah.
You know what? I see the craziest shit on YouTube. I've seen videos where it's like those like review YouTube channels where they review food.
Yeah.
I've seen that, but for jail.
No way.
It's like, yo, we're in jail and we're reviewing the commissary honey buns.
No, they're reviewing jail food.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
Well, it's you got to wonder. It's like, how are they getting like cell phones in jail?
Oh,
you know?
I don't know.
But they have cell phones in jail. You know.
Yeah. I don't think they're supposed to have them, but they're definitely there. They're definitely making communication. It's always funny whenever you see like, an inmate try to make like a Facebook post and like the PD that arrests them are like replying to the comment.
It's like you shouldn't have a cell phone.
I'm like, hey, buddy, we see this.
I don't know. I mean, the cops are just they're just functionals in a dysfunctional system.
I don't know. Couldn't be for me. For sure. I'd definitely not be a...
You would be a good cop. I can imagine you as a cop.
I don't want to do it. That's the problem.
Yo,
I'm the type of person that I don't want to do things, but if I have to, I will.
that's exactly the kind of cop we need in this world, you know?
Yeah, well, see, that's why I can't be a cop, because I don't want to be that
I mean, that's
cop.
the kind of cop you make movies out of, you know?
Yeah.
Yo, it would be so sick if we were partners as cops. Like, we joined together, and there's like, you guys are being paired up together. We'd be like, awesome. And then I'll be the one causing trouble, and you would just be so over it, like looking at like gaming videos on YouTube. I'd be like, yo, Adam, we gotta do work, and you're like, what? We gotta do work.
Fuck.
Shit. You know, like it'd be so fun. Actually, no, it wouldn't be fun. I think I would fucking hate it. I would, even if I was
would
working
hate
with
it.
a friend, I would fucking hate it.
I'd hate the hours more than anything.
I would hate the uniform because you got to keep that shit clean. Like you got to wear that shit in the summer. You're gonna sweat in it. It's like you got to keep it clean and stuff, which means you got to get.
Yeah, I finally understand that gay cop in Reno 9/11 when he had the booty shorts.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? He had an idea and he executed it. I mean, I don't want to be sweating in no fucking giant uniform either.
Yeah, exactly.
Damn, what a great show.
Yeah.
I remember this episode where they had the black cop and then like, I don't know, he was like, I don't think it was laid off, but he was like on suspension. So that same gay cop who was like the lieutenant, he just like dropped by and like gave him some fried chicken and like malt liquor. And the black cop just looked at him and like in disgust, but he ate it anyway. That show was ahead of his time, man.
That's a good show.
It's a great fucking show. If you've never seen it, go watch Reno 911.
I like how in Reno 911 the guy cops wear the shorts and the girl cops wear the slacks.
Yeah, I mean they'd have to. You saw one of the lady cops. She had oh my god, her fucking ass was ginormous.
Yeah.
You think that would fit in shorts? Them fucking shorts would explode at the seams.
Yeah.
I remember her name, Niecy Nash, I believe. She's fine as fuck. Let me tell you.
One of my favorite skits ever from Reno 911 was it was a traffic stop, like a driving stop late at night, and the lady cop comes out. She was like doing a drunk driving test. She was like, all right, now I want you to step here, do this. And he was like, all right, he did it. And she's like, now step, and you step forward, back, and twirl. And she was like doing a dance routine, and he did it like perfect, right?
Oh no.
And then he was like, well, I was also thinking, that's good, but what if you added like one of these to it?
Right.
And she was like, you're good. Are you a professional dancer? And he's like, nah,
No,
man,
I'm
I'm just
alcoholic.
drunk. And she's like, got ya. And he's like,
Yeah, you got. I actually remember that one. Holy shit.
it was a really good one. That was one of my favorite ones.
Yeah, that's a fucking.
That's a really good wholesome show.
Yeah, about cops in
Yeah.
Reno, which
Yeah.
didn't actually take place in Reno, but
No.
that's what they told us.
Oh my god, Cops itself is a hilarious show. You ever see
The
the actual?
actual show. Of
Is it even a
Cops.
show? Like, do they still film that?
I don't know if they still film it, but I remember like in a 90s documentary about how like it was crazy how like they basically flipped the script and said, we're the good guys. Here's all the material that we want you to edit. So they basically took all of their, their bust-ins and their arrests and shit. They gave the footage to, the people, the who was handling the development of it, but they never gave any of the bad shit. So they cherry-picked. That's the crazy shit. Because obviously, real life, situations are not always like cops. But they were just cherry picking so that it would make good television.
So the film we see in Cops were all filmed by cops?
Yeah, the police department owns the rights to that footage, and they only gave the footage for the people to edit and put on TV that they selected.
Oh.
So if something was looking bad and ugly, they would never give it to them because they wanted to be seen as the good guys.
Okay, so the cameraman in Cops that we see in the show Cops are usually cops?
Well, I don't know if it was usually cops, but I know that they own the footage. So it's somehow, somewhere, they have the footage that they allowed the editing company to publish on TV.
That's interesting. I didn't know that about the show Cops.
Yeah, because like you would think, oh, you know, Cops, you know, is fucking full of action. It's cool. They're doing the right thing, but they're not showing you the ugly side.
Of course.
Why would they? Because it's like the best promo you could ever have for a police department.
National television show.
Yeah, national television. Look at all this cool shit that we're doing. We're putting justice on the table. We're doing good on these neighborhoods. And it's like, oh, okay, well, where's the rest of it?
Well, it's like you would imagine like, oh, there's just a team, an entity in Hollywood or in the media called Cops, but I didn't know it was like they sent the footage themselves. It's like, you know.
Yeah, because I don't know the full extent of the details, but I know at least that part.
Interesting. What an interesting show, honestly.
It's a good show. Unfortunately, for
it's
like
propaganda.
You know, the grand scheme of things is propaganda, but it made for great television. It was high action.
It was propaganda.
Propaganda, yeah, perfect word.
Yeah. Also, what was I gonna say? There was what also followed Cops was another weird American obsession with like those judge shows, like Judge Judy. Judge Mathis,
I never understood all that. That I never got behind if that was like real or not.
Well, it's like theater in a way. You know how like WWE is like wrestling. Yeah, okay. It's really theater to tell these stories.
It is theater.
Same thing with those court shows where it was really just theater. It was all like fucking. It was just a way to. It was just a medium, a platform to play out these wacky scenarios to you know for people could so people could watch it. I mean, wait, were they real situations? I'm sure they seem like they were real people, you know?
It seemed like it, but I just don't know enough, so I can't say for sure. I think it was more along the lines of like they struck a deal where it's like, okay, your court fees will be deduced, but you know, you have to agree to being on the air or whatever, being on television, and I think that might be how that worked out.
Interesting. I mean, it's another interesting fucking show. It's like who sets that up? You know, it's like what does that look like?
It's
you know?
Another product of the '90s where you said like, you know, it was a flash in the
flash in the pan. Yeah, cable television.
They wanted a way to capitalize on this cable thing, and that was one of the things. And I think what really kicked it off was Court TV. I forgot what it was. They like aired some like two twins that murdered their parents, and everybody was watching that, and they were like, holy shit, we have gold here. Well, how do we keep up with this? Well, let's show more court cases. And then it evolved into, you know, like Judge Judy, where it became like, you know, an opera or a theater type thing where it's not 100% real, but it's real enough that it got people hooked to watching.
Because like people could easily project their own shit onto that. You know, it was like everyday shit, you know, like, oh yeah, what would I do if my neighbor's dog kept shitting on my shit and bit my, you know, sister-in-law? Like, yeah.
You hear some outlandish shit that you would read in a news article, but here it is in court form, and on TV.
Yeah, it's okay stuff. I the only reason why I watched so much of it was because I had to. Whether I was like in a mechanic with one of my uncles or my dad's, you know, car or something, or I was at the laundromat. Or at some video store, like that's what would be on the TV, like in a waiting room. It would always be like Judge Judy, Judge Mathis.
In on the Spanish network, it would be Caso Cerrado, which would be I don't know what her name is, but it's basically like a Colombian judge.
And then there was also those weird talk shows like Maury
Povich
and Jerry Springer.
God bless Jerry Springer, the GOAT. Oh God.
Yo, all right. So there was in that whole era, there were definitely some kings. Like Vince McMahon was a king. Jerry Springer, Maury Povich, Oprah Winfrey for sure. Fuck.
I can't remember much after that.
These
I mean, there's Ricky Lake, but I guess she was on a lesser known deal. I guess she's not like Oprah, but she still had her own show for a hot minute.
Damn. televised personalities are like, it's really been a long standing tradition, and it's probably like ancient. It's almost ancient by now, you know.
It's about to be ancient. Yeah. Because like what do you have now? You just have like TikTokers and like shorts on like YouTube where people are just talking for like, I don't know, like 30 seconds, and that's it. You know, they can't make 30 minutes out of it.
Well, nowadays we got guys like Jimmy Kimmel. We got
Oh, you're talking about the late night shows.
Well, I mean, what else do we have?
Long standing. Yeah. That's kind of like that is a really old tradition where like you'd have these comedians and then you turn them into like talk show hosts, and then that, you know, that's the late night show right there. But yeah, I think there's still like the last bastion of that era of television.
Yeah, because we also we don't have there's no one watches shit like Cops or like fucking Judge something or like.
Well,
if they do, they watch it all on YouTube or something.
I will say this: if you go to somebody's Spanish household, they probably have Caso Cerrado on the television.
Hell yeah!
Because our parents' generation still watches that. That's why.
Yeah,
there's still the generation that doesn't fuck with internet, but they remember cable. So cable is comfortable. So they do that.
What happens when they're gone and it's just all internet watching?
Well, then shit sucks for the cable companies, I guess. You're going to have to reinvent themselves because, like...
They're going to have to start posting on YouTube.
Yeah. Or...
they already do post on YouTube.
Yeah, because, like, now it's all subscription service-based. So instead of cable, they'll just sell you subscriptions. Like, okay, have this channel for, like, $10 a month. And it's like, okay, well, I was paying for, I don't know, 3 or 4 subscription service, and now I'm right back to cable pricing. So I don't see what the point is. See, that's why I just pirate shit, bro. Straight up, I just pirate shit.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, like I'm not paying no fucking subscription service, which I could just download.
Well, Netflix I do pay for, but I should just like stop paying for that.
Yeah, well, it's more like, is the convenience worth the cost? And now it's more like the cost is outweighing the convenience now, because they did that thing where you can't have multiple accounts anymore.
Well, it's also their content's getting it's almost like every time I turn on Netflix, it's like I saw all this shit already.
Yeah, the content sucks, and then you're gated by fucking region, which I think is stupid. Like you actually have to use a VPN to unlock the rest of Netflix.
I mean, what's worse is there's like better things I could be paying for, like in terms of streaming services, like Crunchyroll or something.
Yeah. If you're really big into anime, it's probably worth paying for Crunchyroll. Not like you used to have a choice, because Funimation went down, and there was another company, VRV. They also went down, and they all got absorbed by Crunchyroll. Which who's the Jeff Bezos of Crunchyroll? Like, what the fuck are they doing?
Who is that guy?
They're just eating company left and right out of all these big streaming services. And Funimation is its own publisher, at least I think they are, and they ate them up for streaming services. Like, okay, what is going on here?
What I think is when you see the company but you don't see the faces behind the company, that's how you know they're doing something right. And it's scary, like Rockstar, for example.
Oh yeah, I don't know who the fuck
exactly who is Rockstar.
I don't know what they've been doing for like the last 10 years.
You know what? I'm pretty sure they're British dudes, like they're Brits.
Possibly, yeah, because the one time I put a face to the developer that was British was that shitty ass Devil May Cry game that only a few people liked, because they made Dante like some scrubby edgelord or whatever.
It
was so bad. The presentation was bad. It was not good. But some people said that they liked it. So I mean, I'm sure there was some parts that was likable about that game. I just didn't care. It didn't look like my type of game, so I never gave a shit.
Yeah, Devil May Cry is also like, it's a long standing. It's like a tradition, you know.
Yeah, because there's not really like, besides even God of War got changed to a different type of action game. I think the way that we saw action games back then, that might be still like the old. I don't want to say the oldest, but still like one of the most up to date old action games.
God of War.
No. Devil May Cry, because God of War turned into like a slower paced, I want to say RPG like game. It's not the same. Like God
Assassin's Creed did that too.
Yeah. Well, I think they were all on that fucking bandwagon where they like wanted to stop making action games and create a more slower paced game, which I don't necessarily agree with. That's why I like Devil May Cry 5. They stayed true to their roots and just said, fuck it, we ball, and made a crazy ass action game.
Well, that's the Japanese. They really stick to their guns when it comes to game design.
Yeah. For
From
sure.
Software does the same thing.
Oh yeah, they've been. It's almost like they've been making the same game for like, I don't know, the last
Yeah.
fucking 2 decades, and they're all bangers. Like I
Yeah.
love it.
Armored Core, I think I gotta play. Like,
Yeah,
it's
Armored Core for sure. It's just that, bro, there's just too many good games. Like there's like a renaissance of like games again out of nowhere.
All right, so yeah, I got a list. I got first. I mean, Armored Core is like kind of low on the list, but it's on the list.
Yeah, it's
There's
on the
Final
list.
Fantasy VII. I
Yes,
gotta play
absolutely.
that. There's I mean, there's games that I still haven't finished. There's the Yakuza game, Ishikai.
Yeah, that too.
I mean, that's not even like the mainline series. That's literally I'm like literally on a spin-off right now. Like,
Right.
you know, like it's not even. It's the one where it's like it's all the characters from the Yakuza
On the
series.
feudal
in the feudal
Japan.
Japan. I love that shit.
Yeah.
Though. It's so because that's something special about this. That says something special about the series. That says to me that the characters are so defined, so distinct that you could take them and put them in a whole different setting under different names with different roles, but they'll still be them. You know, and you're like, that's incredible. You know,
It
like
is
that's
incredible, yeah.
I've never seen games do that, but Yakuza has that special thing.
I'm telling you, that's like the one thing.
You know what it's got?
Sega
It's
could
got
do
that.
right.
It's got that telenovela essence. You know,
Yeah.
it's like yo, you could take all these actors and put them in a completely different telenovela show, and they still be them. You know, it's like same energy. You know, Yakuza has that. It's like literally like a drama.
Yeah.
It's like that style drama, like a daytime television drama. And what I love is that like the Yakuza does it, you know, great. But the fact that you can, like you said, take it and put that in like feudal Japan, it's the same people but just doing different shit. It's so sick. I love it.
Yeah. Sega only got 2 games. They got Yakuza and Sega. Everything else is just like a fucking, like an afterthought to them. However, it seems like they're changing their ways. They're releasing a whole bunch of new shit. Like they're making a new Super Monkey Ball. Did you ever? I don't know if you've ever seen the image of like the lead Yakuza dev. He actually used to make Super Monkey Ball.
That's awesome.
And then he had a transformation when he started making Yakuza games, and he looks like a gang member now. And back then he looked like a nerdy developer, and now he looks like a gang member. And you see him in pictures, he's got bitches around him, he got a tan, he got tattoos, he got drip. It's like, dude, what the fuck happened?
He earns the right to ball out.
Yeah, I mean he does, but I'm just saying, like, what made this transformation possible? Because he was not looking like that when you were making Super Monkey Ball.
You know what's fucked up? I bet actual Yakuza dudes play this game and they're like, yo, they got this so right.
They actually have said that. They said that I forgot what game news company, whatever. They sat down with actual Yakuza members in Japan. They made them play Yakuza, and they made them judge it on how accurate it is, and they said it was pretty damn accurate,
And like,
except for minor details.
yeah, like the action and Kiryu
Yeah.
is like that crazy motherfucker. What's cool is it's like it's just like Italian mobsters watching Sopranos. You know, they're like, oh, hey, you know the meme of Leonardo DiCaprio. Going
Yeah,
like,
hey, it's me.
yeah, it's that. It's like that.
Yeah, I know that for sure has happened in movies. I don't know if it happened with The Sopranos, because I'm gonna be honest with you, I have never seen The Sopranos, which I'm going to watch The Sopranos. I just don't know when.
Oh, you're gonna love that
Oh,
show.
yeah, I know. I want to watch that and The Wire.
Yeah,
I haven't seen The Wire. I haven't seen Sopranos, but I know those are 2 shows that I actually do want to watch.
probably 2 of the greatest shows in television, honestly.
Yeah,
And
'cause
Breaking Bad.
Yeah, I watched Breaking Bad recently. I
Yeah.
finished it, and I was like, okay, now I need another show to watch.
Sopranos.
To indulge. It's
Sopranos.
going to be The Sopranos.
First
And
of
then-
all, there would be no Breaking Bad without Sopranos. That's just the
I believe
truth.
that. I believe
And
that.
The Wire is completely different. I think The Wire is honestly, it's a great show, and I think it's one of the best pieces of American propaganda ever created. It's literally propaganda.
About what? Because I don't know shit about the show besides I know it has
Conspiracy
a
within
conspiracy?
within the city of where does The Wire take place? Chicago
Chicago
or Detroit? I forgot where The Wire takes place. That's so bad.
I mean, it's been years. It's been years.
Yeah.
I can't fault you for that.
Fuck. But I do know that The Wire is a pretty great show, and so is Sopranos, and yeah. So, but I also think it's like Sega, what they did with Yakuza. It's like it's kind of the same effect. It's like the guy clearly had to like do research to the extent to where he had to talk to actual Yakuza guys to get the story and get the vibe.
You know what my conspiracy theory is? That Sega's actually owned by the Yakuza. That's why they can only make good Yakuza games. Besides Sonic, is like that's it. That's their two products that makes some money.
You'd be
Sega and I'm saying Sonic and Yakuza.
Yo, you'd be surprised like what like Yakuza's into in Japan. Like they're not like they're like, for example, like Nintendo has Yakuza ties. Like you know, like prolific hipster bike stores have are Yakuza run. You know, it's like,
what's that one bike store? Is it? It's not Yamaha, is it? Do they make bikes? I feel like it's one of those big.
Bridgestone makes bikes.
Bridgestone.
Yeah.
Well, I'm talking about like Japanese companies.
Yeah. Bridgestone is a Japanese company that makes bikes.
Okay.
They make the NJS bikes that are. All right. So in Japan, they have this sport called Kirin. So Kirin is like it's very similar to like in the Olympics where you have the wooden velodrome where it's like you see the curved like oval and like people ride their fixed gear bikes on it, you know, in circles, and like it's track bike racing. So in Japan they have something like that, but instead of like a curved wooden indoor velodrome, it's like it's just a circular track, like for horses. Like it's like
right.
That's what it's really like. It's like horse jockey racing, you know, except instead of horses and horse jockeys, it's just dudes on fixed gear bikes, on steel frame fixed gear bikes. So they're like old school design, and each one wears a very distinct color and a number. So they perform, they race each other. I mean, they get paid more if they win, obviously, but the reason why they do it for the spectator is so spectators could gamble on it. It's a gambling sport.
Ah, I see.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
So if you're a Kirin racer, you're part of this institution where you dress up in like whatever fruity color you're assigned to with your number, and you try to win, because if you win, you make more money.
Yeah.
But you're just racing so that like other dudes watching the races could bet like more money on your outcome, you know, or not. Like, so it's a gambling sport.
Wow. These niggas are out here just fucking
like setting up action. It's action. It's straight up like
I'm sure the Yakuza has their hand in that pocket.
Well, also think about it this way. They got to give the Japanese people vices, otherwise these people would not spend their fucking money at all.
Oh yeah, they're very I don't know.
Conservative.
Yeah, very conservative.
Yeah, so you got to get they had to give them like gambling. It's like, yeah, gamble, you know. Put some money in, you know, like put some skin in. But yeah, so Sega did Yakuza really well. I also think Sega still has Dragon Quest, which is becoming big which is never gonna die.
That's I think Dragon Quest is Square Enix now. Oh, not now. I think it's been Square Enix.
I thought Dragon Quest was Sega.
I'm not actually sure. I think it's Square Enix. Yeah, I think it is Square Enix. Yeah. Sega. I don't think Dragon Quest is a Sega thing. Say it must be Sega. Must have like some other RPG, but it's Square Enix.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Let me see.
Yeah, I'm fairly certain that Dragon Quest is Square Enix.
I do know. Dragon Quest is I feel bad for it because it's like it's not good as Final Fantasy.
Well, that wasn't the case when it first came out. You know, Final Fantasy was trying to catch up to Dragon Quest, which if you want to say that Final Fantasy has more cultural relevance, I would agree. But without Dragon Quest, there would be no Final Fantasy, because that was like their last hope. It was like if we don't make a banger of a game, we're done as a company, as Square, which that's what they were called back then.
Squaresoft.
Yeah, Squaresoft. So they put it all on the table for Final Fantasy, and they made a banger. And I think the reason why they said that because the developer says he can't make good action games, so I'm just gonna make an RPG. And the reason their like strategy was like, okay, we can't beat Dragon Quest, but we can release our game first than Dragon Quest. They were at least hoping to be at least second place to Dragon Quest, and here we are now. We're what, fucking 16 games later? Like these dudes have never stopped, which, you know, credit to them.
What the fuck is a Final Fantasy?
I don't know, dude.
No, it's because this is our Final Fantasy.
Yeah, it was a Final Fantasy game. It's like they were gonna make a fantasy RPG. It was gonna be the last one, and if this doesn't work, we're all fucking out of a job because they didn't want to relocate and move to a smaller office. That's how we got here. And yet, look at Dragon Quest. Dragon Quest has been doing the same shit for fucking decades. They haven't changed. It's still same old school JRPG, and it's still a fucking banger.
Well, also Sega dropped the ball on all their games.
I'm telling you, dude, they're owned by the Yakuza. That's why.
Well, all right. So they got overrun by the Yakuza, and suddenly like the whole company just went tits up. That's really what happened.
Yeah, they said we're gonna do what we know how to do best, and that's Sega and Yakuza. I mean Sonic and Yakuza. Fuck, I keep saying Sega.
Yeah. Can't. First of all, you can't fuck up Sonic, but Sonic is already like pimped out to Nintendo.
You know why you can't fuck up Sonic? Because Sonic fans are delusional. How do I know this? I'm a Sonic fan. Niggas will buy the same game and complain about it every fucking time and repeat the process when the next fucking Sonic game comes out.
Really?
Yeah, they've been doing this shit for decades now. Like, new Sonic game comes out, or at least is announced, they get hyped, they buy the game, it's fucking trash, rinse and repeat. They've been doing this shit for decades.
Why are the Sonic games so
I don't
trash?
know. There's something special that Sonic appeals to the autistic mind that just taps in, and they have no way of letting go. They just have to keep playing
because they're going really fast.
Yeah, they want to go fast and eat ass. It's like that's the motto of Sonic, or at least I think that it is. Whatever it is.
So it's like, I don't know. It's, first of all, there were good Sonic games. Like there were good modern Sonic, like Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2.
Yeah, I fucking love those games, bro. They were legit. Like that's peak Sonic to me. Like 3D Sonic. And then they were like, okay, well, now we got to push this other fucking crappy shit. And then they were crying out for 2D Sonic, which, by the way, this is how fucked up Sega is. They refused to make a good 2D Sonic game. So they just hired like some hackers and they just hacked up their own fucking Sonic engine, which, by the way, like if you buy a Sonic game on mobile, they're the ones responsible. They coded that. It wasn't Sega. Sega just like bought their like, you know, product out and they published it. It was the hackers that made that game. So like Sonic 2 and 3 and 1, that on mobile, it was the hackers that made it. And they was like, all right, guys, well, we're going to make a new game called Sonic Mania. And then that's when these guys were like officially given like a studio so that Sega could publish, and then they would make, you know, what they would call like, I don't know. It's essentially Sonic 4, because the real Sonic 4 is trash. Nobody wants to play that fucking shit.
All right, let's be real though. First of all, Sonic deserves their props because, yes, as trash as the games may be, they got movies now. And they're in Hollywood, bro.
I was shocked. Like, okay, I was shocked at how good the fucking Sonic movie was, because I came into here, okay, this is a video game movie. It's going to be shit. But you know what? It's Sonic, whatever. Let's go see it. And I go see it. I was like, wow, Jim Carrey? Fuck yeah, I want to see this shit. And it was actually, it wasn't bad at all.
It was Sonic.
It was Sonic. It was Sonic true to himself. You know, they had to add some fucking human dipshit as a fucking, you know, as a vehicle.
You know who did that? Detective Pikachu.
Oh yeah. See, I didn't see that. Like that was a bit too much for me. Did you see Detective Pikachu?
I saw half and I fell asleep, but it was actually not bad. I didn't dislike it.
Okay, so maybe I should give it a shot.
It didn't. Yeah, you should. Every Pokemon fan should watch it.
Okay.
But it didn't feel like real. Actually, you know what? It did. It was pretty cool. I'm glad I watched it. I see, but it still doesn't feel right. I don't think Pokemon should ever be live action.
Yeah, it's a little too weird. See, Sonic makes sense. Sonic makes sense because he always had this, I don't know, this character about him. He was fast. He was cool. And there was also the Sonic cartoon where he talked. You know, Jaleel Wah, whatever. So there is some character to it. Pikachu just says he just yells incoherent shit in the video games, or just says Pikachu, right? Now you're giving him a voice like, okay, what the fuck is this?
Well, it's Ryan Reynolds.
I mean, I do like Ryan Reynolds, not gonna lie, but...
Well, all right, so in Detective Pikachu, the story goes, they figured out a way to put human minds inside Pokemon. And that's the story. It's like the main character's father, who was a detective and who suddenly died or went missing or whatever. Apparently his brain was put into a Pikachu. But the Pikachu didn't realize he had that guy's brain. He just knew he was a detective. And a human brain put into a whatever.
See, this is creating some strong implications of the Pokemon universe.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it was like...
That's pretty insane, because if you look at the tech that's in Pokemon, it's pretty fucking crazy. Like I forgot what game they confirmed like multiple universes or whatever, and then that was a theory, because I don't know how it got to it, but basically it said every cartridge of a Pokemon game, because it's all the same game, right?
Yeah,
is a different universe being played out differently.
Interesting.
Yeah, that was a theory about the link cable and all that shit. how people are able to communicate with different universes.
Yeah.
That's how they handled that idea of why, you know, me and you are playing the same game, same character, but different outcomes.
It's a parallel universe.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's the word that I was
crazy.
looking for.
That is pretty crazy. But what also, like, I mean, I went down a Pokemon rabbit hole recently, and like it shit was fucking mind-boggling. Like, first of all, like, let's look at it this way. I mean, Pokemon. All right, there's a meta narrative. There's meta layers to it. Like, first of all, let's look at Ash Ketchum's story, which is like within the anime of Pokemon. It's its own universe, right?
Right. Yeah. It's its own thing.
It's its own thing, and throughout the 25 years of Ash Ketchum, he never aged.
Yeah.
Throughout all of, what is it, like thousands of episodes by now?
Yeah. Even if you were to take like an episode per day, that's still like at least, you know.
That was definitely more than like years worth of.
Yeah,
like,
it's definitely. I mean, it's at least 3 to 5 years at a minimum.
Yeah.
I don't know how many episodes. I'm just going by like, let's say there was just 1,000 episodes, which I don't think there is. There's probably like 2,000 because it's been going on for 20 years. If you look at the very low estimate of 1,000, he should have aged at least 3 years.
At least, okay.
And he hasn't changed a bit.
No.
It's just the design, the artistic style has changed, and it's like, okay, whatever.
And on top of that, it's like, okay, so that, but what I will give them credit for doing is they literally ended Ash's story in the mainline anime. It's no longer about Ash. It's
yeah,
it's about this new girl from Pallet Town.
Oh,
well, she moves from the island. What are those islands called?
Sevi Islands?
No, the other islands. The
Orange Islands?
No, it was after that. It was like the later Gen Islands, something islands.
Gen 3, we talking?
After that.
Fuck.
Like Gen 7.
Oh, I know. It's the Hawaiian, the Alola region. Yeah, that.
Well, it's called Pokemon Horizons.
Mm-hmm.
And from there and moved to Pallet Town and starts her own adventure. And Ash isn't in the picture at all. It's like there's no Ash. And
it's about goddamn time.
So it's about this new girl who meets this other younger boy, and you know, it's the boy girl pair who the show is about, and they're a part of this airship crew with this like, and the professor travels with them. The professor is the guy who helps run the airship crew, and the captain is a Pikachu. So it's like the captain of the airship wears a captain hat, and it's Pikachu, you know?
Wow, that's fucking sick.
Yeah. So I'm glad they ended Ash's story, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm glad that's over.
It's been way too long, man. It didn't even make sense in its own context, where people are like creating their own crackpot theories. It's like, oh, Ash Ketchum is actually
he's dead.
In a coma, or he's dead because there's no way that he can't age or whatever. And it all happened when he saw that golden bird, that one episode.
But that's a big deal. What the big deal about his story ending was how they ended it, I think.
And how did they end that? Because I haven't seen it.
So within the main show, they held this tournament of champions.
Ah, okay.
They gathered every champion who's ever, like, I think, beaten Elite Fours, like all the Pokemon champions of the regions, and gotten together to face each other. And there were some complaints about it, but apparently a lot of people liked it. And I mean, you saw like awesome callbacks, like, because you know, in like every other season, in the previous seasons, there were like, there were fucking there were like cool rivals that, you know, like would become like known as champions throughout the time, and to see them like come back and get called back as like cameos was awesome. But after that whole thing was over, like, you know, they had that moment where like the battle, it was like the last move, and it was like the make or break moment. It's like, this is it, either we get it in this attack or we lose. And as they were doing the attack, you saw like everyone watching from the past, like everyone, like,
oh wow,
like Tracy the photographer,
I remember him.
like, or I mean, not Tracy the photographer. I mean, but he was there. The photographer from Pokemon Snap was in there. Everyone.
Oh
like literally everyone was.
Brock and Misty and all them motherfuckers.
The family, Professor Oak.
Oh, that's fucking dope. Maybe I should watch that. Damn.
And then afterwards, and what was cool is like afterwards, how it ended was Ash is back home, you know, lazing about.
So his journey is finally over.
Yeah, he's like literally lazing about, and his mom's like, you know, like telling him to, like, you know, you should stop like laying around, you should go out and do something. He's like, yeah, you're right. So he goes out and does stuff. And it's literally like epilogue shit. He's like he's like dealing with like stupid like inconsequential shit compared to like all the big. But then at the end of it, it's like, you know, him and Pikachu like go through a rainy day, and Ash tells Pikachu, he's like, you know what? I don't think I'm ready to retire. Like, yeah, I won that championship of champions, but like I think we should keep going and like look keep looking to new things. We should keep like adventuring. And Pikachu was like, yes. So that's how they ended it. Was Ash Ketchum going on his fucking.
You know what? That's a good life lesson right there. Like, even though you accomplish a lot, there's still more to look forward to in life.
Yeah, and it was cool because he was in Pallet Town on a rainy day under a tree, look with Pikachu. He's like, remember, you know, when we were in a similar situation like this.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was cool. So yeah, it was very emotional. You know, because I remember when I first saw that episode air, like I was like.
Oh wow!
I saw it. Don't you remember? You know when that shit first aired in Pokemon.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
oh man, it was fucking nuts. It was like taking over every school by storm. It's like, even I remember when I was a kid, my fucking principal had to make a fucking announcement about Pokemon. Like, it was threatening the livelihood of every fucking like elementary school in Queens or whatever.
That was one of the most successful marketing initiatives in history.
I don't know how they managed to pull it off, but they fucking knocked it out of the planet, actually.
I do remember that every local Toys R Us in America sent out promotional VHS tapes and put it in people's mailboxes, and it was just Pokemon. Like, it was just
that's a lot of money.
It was teaching you about Pokemon. It was teaching you about the world. It was telling you what Pokemon are. And then as a kid, I was like, I never saw VHS tapes in the mailbox before. I was like, what the fuck? And I watched it and I was like, okay, well, whatever. But then, like, a couple weeks later on TV, it's like, watch the first episode of Pokemon. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, so I would watch it and then I'll be like, all right, this is pretty cool. And then I'll go to school, like you said, and everyone's talking about it. I'm like, oh shit, I guess they saw it too. So that's how I recall Pokemon being. Right up until the first movie was released in theaters.
I remember that. I remember that shit. My sister took me and some siblings to watch it. We all cry like little bitches on the Pikachu scene.
No, Ash turned to stone.
He's trying to shock him and it's not working. Like, yeah, he's fucking stone dipshit.
You idiot. That was such a good movie too.
Yeah. See, this what sucks. Like, what do the young people now have, like, for moments like this?
They have reboots. I mean, hopefully they, like, you know, maybe by the time our kids are 10 years old, like our kids' generation, they'll see like a reboot of the first season of Ash Ketchum's First Day, and then we'll watch it as old fucks and we'll be like, wow, they really did that.
Yeah. I just hope for like new shit. I'm kind of like,
yeah, I'd be pissed off. I'd be like, you guys couldn't come up with like new ideas.
It's fucking, these writers are just creatively bankrupt in Hollywood or wherever the fuck they're coming from. They don't want to write their shit. They want to piggyback off of like an established idea and think, oh, I can do it better. Hey, let's make this, but with X and Y. It's like, no, like, you don't even see the vision of why that makes that, you know, IP good in the first place. You just want to put your stamp on it.
Yeah, Pokemon was dope. I loved Pokemon. But I'm glad they got rid of Ash. Like, they had to end his story.
Like, imagine if they reboot it now. It's like, who the fuck? Like, no. Like, you guys had 20 years. Like, we're good. Make something new.
What I don't like is I don't know. I mean, they should still include Ash like older, you know. But
yeah, see, that's different. I would totally be down with that because that's like a nod to like the older generation. It's like, okay, this is how far we've come.
But you know, like maybe he'll come back. You know, like that's the thing. They have that in their pocket now. Now that they introduce this new character, they could go 10 years with this new character, and they could be like, well, now Ash is a crossover. You know what? I would be so pissed off though if like when Ash does get introduced, he's still 10 years old. You know,
yeah, it's like that's what I'm hoping doesn't happen. You know, they should just make him like I don't know, like
20.
Make him like he should be a traveling person, but I can imagine him as an older, just saying, "Fuck it, I'm gonna become a professor,"
or a gym leader.
Yeah, just a full-fledged gym leader, or like, I don't know, league member.
Yeah, league member would be good.
You know, imagine him as like a fucking, I don't know, like a person. No, it's like an official judge of the Pokemon League. I can see that.
But like he just wants to be the best. He
Yeah.
just wants to be the greatest master of them all. To make friends with every single Pokemon.
That was the original goal, and he kept true to that.
Yeah, Pokemon is a cool thing. I mean, it's also a weird concept. Just instead of they're slightly smarter animals.
They're slightly smarter animals with mythical abilities that somehow are not fully explained, and they're like actually causing ecological effects. Like if you see one, I don't know, it causes rain to fall, and it's like, okay, well, what if there's like 30 of these niggas? Now what? Is it gonna be constant, rainfall? How do we stop this?
Cause climate change.
They're like fucking eco-terrorists by just existing.
It's also how big is their fucking world? It seems like twice the size of our Earth, honestly.
Oh yeah, that's another thing. We don't know how big their planet is.
Never saw a globe in Pokemon.
Okay, so there is a globe, and it's not the same continent structure as our planet.
Obviously.
Like they had like some weird continent in the middle where like Africa would be, but it was way skinnier, and it was like elongated like, horizontally. So I was like, okay, well, we know how the Kanto region looks like. We know how this region looks like. This isn't either of those. So what the fuck is this? And they never really explained it, because like, okay, we had all the Japanese areas, right, which is like Kanto, whatever. Then we had the European one, and then we had the Hawaiian one.
Yeah.
And then I think that's it. I'm not sure. I don't know where the new ones take place, because I never played them.
I want to see a Pokemon world map.
Yeah, that's what I also want to look at too. I want to know where the fuck is this all taking place in, because like this geographical shit is not making any lick of sense.
It is very weird. And also, like, they try to fuck around with time too. Like, they did, like, Pokemon in the past, like.
Yeah, that was weird, but I guess it makes sense in their world because of the alternate or parallel universes or whatever. Hey man, you already opened this door, so why not?
Fucking Pokemon. What an ambitious ass, like. It's crazy.
All because some fucking dude was collecting bugs and said, you know what, this will make a great video game.
Let's make them cuter.
Yeah, make them cuter and make them fight.
Jesus Christ, it's kind of fucked up, actually.
Yeah, there's essentially like cockfighting, but with, I don't know, electric rats.
I mean, all right, so it's almost like we're literally running out of shit. Like, we did live action. We've by the time we've gotten to live action Pokemon without giving a fuck, it's like, dude, what else is there?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't want to say the universe is creatively bankrupt, but a lot of these people who are in positions of power to like create some of these shows, they're creatively bankrupt because they're just looking at the paycheck.
Yeah. You know what I bet's gonna happen? A live action Among Us show.
Oh my fucking god! Don't say that into existence.
It's gonna happen. Or a movie. It's gonna happen.
Netflix.
Like, you're gonna see it on Netflix. Yeah.
Who is the traitor among us?
It's like
Jesus fucking Christ, and they hear the dun 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 dun.
Yeah.
I'd fucking lose it.
And what's funny? It's like there's gonna be a scene where they're just like they look like regular people, but then like something happens and the air gets sucked out, so they have to put on suits.
Oh,
and then each
God.
suit is like a separate color. It's like that's.
Oh no. I can already see the pilot episode. It's like,
yeah, it's like all the air. It's like, oh no, the airlock's busted, so they have to put on suits, and then it's like what? And they're all just looking at each other, and they're wearing this.
Oh my god, Star Trek, but with Among Us. Oh god.
See, that'll be funny.
It would be funny. It'd be funny to me. I don't think it's. I don't
think
it
would work as a show.
scheme.
It would be a movie. I think it would work better as a movie.
It could. Okay, if it's like. It could work as a show. It could work as a movie, depending on who writes it. It's like they can definitely do it. It's still going to be goofy no matter what, but it could be well executed.
The way I would look at it like this, like each movie, like how like Among Us plays like every session, it's like you play through a game and it's like whoever blah blah blah, whoever catches it or not. Each one of those game sessions is like a movie in itself, right?
Right.
So that's how I would do it. Like the first movie is about this one crew who maybe they fail. The next one is maybe they succeed or whatever. First of all, I know they could do this because if they could make a movie out of Five Nights at Freddy's,
I haven't seen it, but I was like, wait, there's what? A fucking movie out of this fucking game?
You never saw Five Nights at Freddy's?
I know. I know. Shaggy's in it. Whatever. Matthew Lillard. I think he's the boss or whatever.
Yeah.
Of the company. I know he's in it. And hey, man, I'm willing to watch that just because I think it's just so out there. Like, really? This is what you made a movie out of? Like, okay, cool.
So
let's watch
it's like
it.
there's no reason why they can't make a movie of Among Us.
Yeah. See, you know what I was thinking? So because there's different stages and different planets, I was thinking of a show, and like one season is one area, right?
Well, yeah.
And then the next season is a different crew with different colors, different map, different scenario, because they have different utensils or whatever to like, or apparatuses to make like the thing keep happening.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. Hey, that's a freebie right there.
That would be good. I mean, look, we had a fucking Angry Birds movie.
I forgot about that, dude. Really?
We had an emoji movie.
Okay, that one sounds so stupid. It's almost unbelievable. But wasn't that Jewish guy with the curly hair and the Seth Rogen? No, it's not Seth Rogen. Seth
Woody Allen or something?
No. It's the guy in Pineapple Express. I can't remember his name.
Seth Rogen.
Oh, so I was right the first time. Okay, yeah. But was he in the Emoji Movie? Was he like something?
I don't know. I didn't see the emoji movie.
Okay, thank God.
Should I see the emoji?
I mean, I don't know. I have no idea. It looks like shit.
I haven't heard of it since. Like,
it looks like shit. Like there's no novelty. It's like, hey man, you remember emojis? Like, no. Like, you mean the dumb shit on my phone? Whereas like, okay, you could say, oh, remember Five Nights at Freddy? Yes. Remember Angry Birds? Yes. Who's like, remember emojis? Nobody's saying that shit.
the emoji movie.
Yeah, what emoji? What the fuck are you talking about? You mean the saluting guy? Yeah, sure.
The emoji. I can't believe there's an emoji movie.
Yeah, like, dude, like what? They're running out of ideas, I'm telling you.
All right, but like, yeah, there's gonna be an Among Us movie, definitely.
I gotta mentally prepare for that one.
And as I'm glad we don't have like a Metal Gear Solid movie. I would hate that.
No, we gotta keep Kojima sane, and we gotta make him last a few more years, please. We can't let this man lose it yet.
I could imagine like Devil May Cry the movie.
That could be a thing, yeah, that for sure. Make a Devil May Cry movie out of any of the games. They're all kind of like dramatic in a way.
Well, also we gotta remember Capcom does not mind making movies. They pump movies out.
Oh, they made here's one that I won't see out of principle. Monster Hunter. They made a Monster Hunter movie by the same guy that made the Resident Evil movie, which those were fucking dog shit, in my opinion. I will never watch a single movie.
Because Resident Evil makes two lines of movies. They make the live action movies, which are dog shit, and they make the CGI movies, which are dog shit.
Well, the live action movies that are dog shit and has the same character, Mila Jovovich, as the main
Alice,
character.
yeah.
Yeah, Alice. I'm not watching that bullshit. I'm sorry. Resident Evil's too good to stoop that low. Even though Resident Evil in itself is kind of cheesy, but this is just bad and like shit. Like, no, I can't do it.
Yeah, and the Monster Hunter, the live action movie, is also dog shit.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me one bit.
No,
Like,
I didn't see it, but I'm pretty sure.
I know Mila Jovovich is in it. T.I. is in it for some fucking reason, and some random Asian guy as a hunter or whatever.
Hells yeah.
And like, I don't know. There's like a portal and a monster comes out, and that's as far as I know. It's like, I'd like to keep it that way. I'm not watching that dog shit. Sorry.
But Capcom also makes CGI movies of the same ilk. Like they make CGI Monster Hunter. They made a CGI Resident Evil movie, which were better than the live action counterparts.
See, I haven't seen any of those, so I can't really say anything about them. But hey, man, I'll have to take your word for it. It doesn't surprise me at this point, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I mean they do make CGI movies, and they're better because they're more in line with the games, and they're usually canon too.
Right. So wait a minute. So like that Dragon Quest movie, that's CGI, but that one was actually decent. That was actually good.
Did you see the ending of that?
I still haven't because I've just been watching other shit.
Yeah, it's good. It was a good movie.
Yeah.
When you see the ending, you're gonna freak out. You're gonna be like,
Oh boy.
It gets really meta.
See, I know, and I'll tell you why. Because I've been playing Dragon Quest 11, so I was like, okay, that's what my spare time has been getting eaten up by.
Yeah, you know what other movie is actually pretty fucking good?
What?
Actually, no, it's not good. It's actually pretty bad, but actually wasn't bad either. It wasn't that bad. It was Mario.
Oh yeah, see, I think there was like an earnest attempt into making that into a good movie, kind of like how. And it's funny because like the tables are turned. It would initially, I would say it should have been Nintendo that made that kind of movie first, and then Sega to follow suit. But it was Sega who did it first with their Sonic movie, and then Nintendo was like, okay, well, we can do one too, and let's hire some, I don't know, is it Disney or
Chris
Pixar?
Pratt.
Chris Pratt as Mario. Oh my god. I didn't see it, but it didn't look, because now my eyes were open when I saw the Sonic movie. Okay, this looks like this could be okay as well. Like, it's not complete dog shit. That's my worry there. I don't want to go into a movie and be like, this is gonna be complete dog shit.
This is absolute garbage, man.
Yeah, because I've seen complete dog shit before, and I don't want to see it again.
Final Fantasy. I remember Final Fantasy was a
15. Was it 15? They had a movie.
Okay, so if I could name all the well, no, they made too many movies by now. They made like The Spirits Within, which bombed, but I actually liked that movie.
I don't remember that one. Which one was that about?
All right, so The Spirits Within was a standalone Final Fantasy movie about Earth being invaded by this alien. Well, Earth got hit with a comet, and the comet was filled with like alien spirits. Mm-hmm. And they would kill you by eating you, but not like physically. They would eat you spiritually. So they would just touch you, and they would kill your soul, and then your body would slump over and die.
Oh boy!
So it was like a sci-fi thing, like a sci-fi dystopian thing. Like they had to build technology, like special guns that could kill these alien spirits. Honestly, like looking back, that was a good fucking movie. Okay, so there's that, and they also had Final Fantasy VII, Advent Children, which was a good fucking movie.
I remember that one. Yeah.
They also had Kingsglaive.
Kingsglaive, that was the 15 one. I remember seeing that in theater. I saw it with you, actually.
Yeah.
I remember that shit.
That movie was tight, and I think they'll probably make another one at some point.
They probably will now with all this other shit. I wonder what they're gonna do now, because like, okay, they came out with 16, and like, okay, what are they gonna do now?
They should just. I mean, they could literally stop making new games and just remake every game they've ever made.
They already did that. they remade 1 through 6 and now 7. So they made 1 through 6 pixel remasters.
Yeah.
So that's available now. They remade 7 as a full-blown action game, which you could also play turn-based. It's just 8, 9, 10 and above that hasn't been remade because, you know, they're still a little new, I guess.
What if you made like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 as action games?
Well, they did one already.
As
Strangers of Paradise is based off. Well, I wouldn't say it's based off of 1 entirely. It's like a prequel to 1, or a. I don't. I have the game, but I never fully played it. I know it's set in the universe of 1.
Oh,
because like the main guy is named Jack Garland, and if you played 1, you remember like one of the first bosses was like Garland or whatever, which I think that's him, but corrupted.
But all right,
so I think that's like the prequel to actual 1.
Interesting.
Which I like 1 a lot. I think 1 is great. Just give me a game with 4 niggas and send me off to an adventure. There you go. Everybody's a healer, attacker, fucking thief, mage, whatever. Let's go.
You guys go.
Yeah, I'll figure it out.
Shit. Another. I don't know. I mean, like I said, like if they did make another Final Fantasy game, it would probably just be like recycled ideas. You know, like they would just like use another version of Ivalice or another version of Midgar or another version of something. Like they really do like recycle names and shit.
Oh, it's this their bread and butter. It's like, hey, look at this idiot. He's gonna pay for Final Fantasy yet again.
What I do hear though is I heard you're pretty tight at Tekken.
Yeah, I'm pretty okay at Tekken. I'd like to say, it got to the point where I fought this one guy that I know from Facebook. He doesn't want to play me in the new Tekken anymore.
Oh.
Because he got PTSD the last time I beat his ass.
I don't know. Who do you play as?
I play as a Peruvian crackhead woman that does MMA, and her name's Azucena.
No, I mean, is there a base character that the fighting style is based on, or is it just a custom completely?
Oh, that one in specific, she has a bunch of like MMA grabs and MMA like strikes. So she's kind of like a striker. But but they have different fighting style. Like, the evil Chinese guy Feng, he does like Baji Quan or some Chinese martial art.
Shaolin or something.
Yeah, there's obviously the Mexican wrestler who does wrestling. They have a black guy that looks like Blade named Raven who does like ninjutsu.
No, I like Raven.
Yeah, Raven's fucking sick. Let's see, who else did they add? They added a guy who looks like an old French John Wick, and he actually has a gun and a sword and a knife.
Awesome.
He's actually one of the sickest characters they ever added, because he has a karambit, he has a pistol, and he has like a katana that he has, like, he charges up with electricity.
That's pretty dope.
It's fucking sick. He's so cool. And let's see, who else do they have? They have like some silent Russian who does sambo. They have I hate this character. She does karate, but like a very defensive karate.
The new character?
No, her name is Asuka. She's
I know
older.
Asuka.
Yeah, I don't like her. I fucking hate that bitch.
I think she does like Aikido.
Yeah,
some kind of karate blended with Aikido. Yeah.
Yeah, she does some of that. Let's see who else there is. They have a okay, for a fighting game. They have a pretty good representation of actual real fighting styles.
Yeah, they have classics like the Taekwondo guy. They have the Jeet Kune Do guy.
Yeah, they have Hwarang, which is a Korean Taekwondo guy. They have
Law.
They have Law, which is like degular martial arts,
Jeet Kune Do.
karate. They have judo from Paul, the American.
Yeah.
They have that. Lei, I don't know what, it just says martial arts. I don't know what, I think they're just trolling
I think he's
us.
like a drunk cop. He's like a
Lei. Oh yeah. He's basically the Jackie Chan simulator. He has in 7 he had like, I don't know, like 9 or 7 stances, like crane stance, dragon stance, and all that fucking shit. I fucking hated fighting him.
He is the Jackie Chan guy.
Yeah, he was definitely the Jackie Chan guy. And then Law was the Bruce Lee guy.
Yeah.
It's a dope game. I love it, man.
Who else do you have? Brian Fury was.
Brian Fury.
Everyone loves Brian Fury.
Brian Fury is supposedly the kickboxer character, and I say supposedly because there was this black guy named Bruce who was a Muay Thai fighter, but he just never came back. So I guess Brian is his replacement.
Well, Brian is the best. Like you can't fuck with Brian.
Brian is literally. He looks like the guy from Blade Runner, the original, the enemy, Roy Batty or whatever the fuck his name is.
Yeah.
And he's just a cyborg that just does evil shit for seemingly no reason. I don't know why he does the things he does. And then there's also Yoshimitsu, which is the sword guy.
He has a badass rivalry with fucking Yoshimitsu.
Yeah, they're just up to no good at all times. But yeah, fucking Tekken is great. I love it.
And it's cool that there is a story, and they even have movies, even though the movies are always dog shit.
See, that's the thing about video games. Is like, I'm prepared for the disappointment, but I still watch them anyway, just because I'm curious.
Like the Mortal Kombat movies, always dog shit.
I will say this: at least the new one was slightly more interesting.
Yeah, but it was still like
okay. It's like some of the fights are cool.
They had cool actors, you know.
Yeah. It was fun to watch. I wouldn't say it was a good movie, but it was fun to watch.
Yeah, it was really classic Mortal Kombat movie-esque. What other? There was one more movie that I was going to mention. That was also dog shit. Like, all right, so what did we mention? We mentioned Street Fighter, the movies.
That one. I only like that one for the memes where it's you killed my family, and the guy's like, for me, it was just a Tuesday. Like, I don't give a fuck about you or your family.
I really wish they would stop making movies out of video games. Just leave them alone.
Yeah,
man.
just like, dude, like they're already telling us a story. We don't need to see the story in a fucking truncated format. Like,
well, also the problem is like we got to admit that movies are a lesser form of entertainment than video games now.
Yeah, they're a lesser form of books generally.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, well, how are you going to condense this 60-hour game into 2.5 hours
of bullshit?
Yeah, it's too much.
I mean, books are different. Books are special because they're very descriptive. It's words. It's like it's a very like nuanced form of hallucination. But video games compared to movies, it's like the same thing, but video games are just better at it.
Yeah. Because like you can play out a story different ways, or repeat a sequence. You can't really do that in a movie format. Like once those seconds are gone, those seconds are gone. And the thing about where in movies and books is like you can act some of those words out. You don't have to like say them. You can just portray them in a physical form. Whereas video games are already doing that. Like, okay, he ran up the hill. I'm running up the hill in the fucking video game. I don't need a description of that in the movie. I'm just doing it. So it's like I don't see what the fascination is of making a movie out of every fucking video game.
It's fucked up. Stop it. The only time where I think it's justified is if the movie tells a story within the game's universe that you didn't see in the game.
Yeah, that I like.
Yeah.
Tell me something that's a part of the game that I can't see in the game.
Exactly. That's
a
good idea.
Like, what happened to this character at this moment when he went missing?
You can make a movie out of that.
Yeah.
That makes sense, but I don't like it when they just make like the watered down versions of the game experience, like,
or just completely change what happened in the game just to fit your fucking movie. It's like, no, this doesn't happen. It's not how this fucking works.
This isn't how any of this works.
Yeah, like random sword just went on fire. It's like, no, that doesn't happen in the games, buddy. You just made that shit up for visual effects. You got to pay off your visual effects guy.
Yeah, I don't like that stuff. Stop making movie depictions of video games that we play.
Please, just make something else up, please.
What can I see in the future? Let's see. I can't believe they never made an Eve video game, but then I realized it would be stupid. It would be impossible because the real story, the drama, is in the player experience. It's in the players.
It's too realistic. It hits too close to home for the politicians.
I could imagine a Warframe movie.
Warframe movie, it kind of has its own cinematic shit already. Like I could totally see that because the Warframe is so fucked up in the way that the world works is that you could just like it's so fragmented in a way that you could just grab the fragments and fill in the gaps. See, there you can cook with that one.
Yeah.
Because I don't even think they know where the story's going.
No.
So you could just make some shit up and just, hey man, fucking
this
another
happened,
sci-fi fucking action. Hell yeah, I'm down for it. And it's like it's far enough in the future where it's like, okay, this could possibly happen.
Yeah. Or make it take place in the 90s. I don't know.
Ugh. Well, they could do something.
Yeah,
they could definitely because there's like some part of the game.
I think it'd be better as an anime than anything.
Ooh, yes,
yeah.
I leave the movie shit alone because the anime could take you anywhere.
Yeah,
anime could be like, I don't know, I'm fighting God in the next 3 seconds or some shit. So I would prefer that.
Fuck
Warframe anime. Let's get it.
Yeah, so I could imagine like that kind of thing about at least like visual, graphical depictions, movie shit, or like animated stuff, an animated series of Warframe. I hope that's where. I don't know, that's where we stop, but I don't know. We'll probably there's probably just gonna keep fucking like beating that dead horse, like trying to make fucking movies out of video games. And I don't know. It's I think it's really hard to do it right. Like Mario barely pulled it off. I think what was really good was when you like reference shit, but it doesn't make it a good movie. Like like you ever see Ready Player One?
No,
you never saw that movie?
Listen, I have 1,000 fucking movies that I haven't seen in this fucking planet, and I'm catching up slowly but surely.
That makes sense, yeah. I don't know, movies are
like when I told you about Old Boy, like I haven't seen that movie ever, and then I fucking saw it, I was like, wow,
yeah,
this shit is crazy.
All right. Well, I think we're about past time, and we can close off this epi. But thanks for hanging with us, talking about bullshit. But it was good chilling. Anyway, I'm gonna stop the recording.
Take it easy.